Folks, we're going to get going in about 2 minutes at 11:02 exactly. So if any media want to get any additional B-roll between now and then, help yourself, and we'll get going in about 2 minutes. Thank you. Holy cow, I know this is hallowed ground, but it sounds like a church in here. Has anybody spoken in the last 30 seconds? Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Bobbinier Court at the Riley Center. I'm Tom Missel, Chief Communications Officer at St. Bonaventure. Just a couple of housekeeping details before we get going. After President Gingrich, Bob, and Coach Mack speak, we will open it up to questions from the media, and at Mike's request, he'd like to have a member of the student media ask the first question. Our Jandoli School of Communication is one of the many reasons this university truly matters, and it's the right thing to do. TV reporters will have an opportunity after the formal Q&A to get Coach Mack over here by the backdrop for your one-on-ones, and we'll try to be wrapped up roughly by noon. And for anyone that cares to hang around, there's another major event going on just this early afternoon. Mike Vaccaro of the New York Post, class of '89, we'll be talking with Chris LaPlaca, class of '79, longtime executive at ESPN, about Mike's new book, Bosses of the Bronx, about the Steinbrenner Yankees. Mike's book is already at number 14 on the New York Times bestseller list, nonfiction bestseller list. And if you can't make that event at 12:30, he's also doing a gig at the bookstore in Olean. I didn't know there was a bookstore in Olean until last week. It's at 7th and West State in the Westgate Plaza at 5:30. Just one thing about a new coach before I introduce Dr. Gingrich. Less than an hour after the news broke of Mike's hiring, I got a text from Tom Donahue, a longtime colleague in my office who had recently retired from Bonaventure. A friend had just texted Tom the following when he saw the news. Tom, hope all is well. In my honest opinion, you're getting a really good one. My grandson Liam has been the student manager at Damon for the past 2 years, and I've been to a dozen games or more over the last 2 years. Coach Mack is a class act. He knows the game, is a great bench coach, and he treats his players and staff well. When the team cut down the nets after the 2 conference championships, Mack made sure the managers got their chance right along with the players. Maybe that's a little thing, but I think that's telling about Coach Mack. I think the Bonnet community will be very happy. Liam's grandfather isn't the only one who noticed what kind of guy Mack is. Just 2 days ago, and I just learned this 2 hours ago, because Mike wouldn't talk about any awards he's gotten. Mike was honored with the 2026 Harry Statham Coach of Impact Award, given annually to just one coach, inclusive of all levels of college basketball except Division I, who makes a meaningful difference both on and off the court, and who does so with a high degree of character and integrity. And with that, please welcome to the podium our 22nd president, Dr. Jeff Gingrich.
Thank you, Tom. Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for being here. This is an exciting and important day for St. Bonaventure, for our alumni, and for fans of Bonnie's basketball. I first want to extend a special welcome to some VIPs who are here today. Of course, Mike's family, his wife Maura, and two of their 4 sons are with us today, Matt and Nick, and my understanding is the other 2 boys are watching on the live stream, Patrick and Mark. We're so glad to have you here. 3 members of our Board of Trustees, Bill Shea, Kristen McMahon, and Sister Margaret McGee are here, and always honored to have board members here. And one of the greatest to ever play on the Bob Lanier Court from the class of 2012, and member of the Bonnie's 100th anniversary all-time team, Andrew Nicholson. Please join me in welcoming everyone. Thanks to you for being here with us, Andrew. I can't thank Bob Beretta, Adrian Wojnarowski enough for their tireless work the last 3 weeks in executing such an exhaustive search for the next coach of the Bonnies. As you know, these coaching searches happen very quickly. Throughout the search, we met with so many accomplished candidates, but from the very beginning, Mike stood apart. Each time I spoke with Mike, I came away more impressed, not only with his basketball mind, but with his character, his humility, his deep understanding of what makes St. Bonaventure so special. What confirmed that impression were the voices of others across college basketball, across the country. People who have worked with Mike, competed against him, and known him for decades spoke about his integrity, his work ethic, and his ability to build winning programs the right way. Those endorsements mattered, and they were consistent across the board. Mike's record speaks for itself. He has won at every level of college basketball, most notably in his last remarkable run at Damon. But what excites us most is how he has won. By developing young men, by building strong cultures, and by leading with purpose. And of course, Mike is one of us. There's something powerful about a Bonnie coming home. As we're reminded in reflections on our program's history, some of our most successful eras have been led by individuals who understood this place, not just as a university, but as a community, a tradition, and indeed a calling. Mike understands that. He understands the pride of wearing brown and white. He understands the expectations that come with the program of succeeding the most successful coach in the school's history, Mark Schmidt. And he understands that success here has always been built on more than winning and a relentless commitment to excellence. It's built on the values rooted in our Franciscan mission: compassion, wisdom, and integrity. We also recognize the landscape of college basketball continues to evolve. The challenges are daunting. The challenges are real. But so is our resolve. St. Bonaventure has never shied away from doing things the right way, even when it isn't the easiest way. I truly believe Mike MacDonald is the right leader for us at this unprecedented time in college basketball. Let me be the first today to welcome Mike MacDonald home to St. Bonaventure University.
Thank you, Dr. Gingrich. And now please welcome from the class of 1987, our Vice President and Director of Intercollegiate Athletics, Bob Beretta.
Thank you and good morning. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us for this milestone event in the history of St. Bonaventure University and our men's basketball program. First of all, I'd like to thank our 22nd president, Dr. Jeff Gingrich, for his incredible support and involvement throughout the search process. None of this would be possible without Dr. Gingrich's steady guidance and strong leadership. Thank you, President. And special thanks to Woj for his partnership and tremendous assistance throughout the search process. I'd also like to publicly thank and recognize Mark Schmidt. The contributions Coach Schmidt has made to the sport of collegiate men's basketball and the program here at St. Bonaventure cannot be overstated. Mark will forever be remembered as one of the greatest coaches in the pantheon of outstanding St. Bonaventure head coaches, and we are so grateful for for all he did to return the Bonnies to national prominence. As we began the process to identify the next leader of our men's basketball program, we developed a list of more than 20 characteristics that we would look for in the person to succeed Mark Schmidt as head coach. Mike MacDonald checked every box. First and foremost, we searched for an individual who could maintain the championship pedigree of our men's basketball program and build on the legacy of success authored most recently by Mark and head coaches such as Eddie Donovan, Larry Weese, Jim Satlin, Jim O'Brien, and Jim Barron before him. We also wanted a leader skilled at building relationships with a variety of constituencies, and a leader adept at developing an environment where young men want to go to the gym every day, excited to develop as premier basketball players on the court and strong leaders off of it. And we wanted a leader capable of creating a culture where our young men love being Bonnies, joyfully embrace the community, and remain with our program for multiple years. Someone who has experienced a great deal of success navigating this new college basketball landscape. Most importantly, we searched for a head coach who would support the mission and core values of St. Bonaventure University. A leader of impeccable character who emphasizes the importance of our connection to the local community and embraces our Franciscan values. Simply put, we wanted a leader who epitomizes what it means to be a Bonnie. We found all that and so much more in Mike MacDonald, someone who will successfully build on the championship heritage of St. Bonaventure basketball, the perfect fit to lead the St. Bonaventure men's basketball program into this new era. You know, there's been countless national and regional awards, loads of individual and team honors, and many league and regional championships. However, the most impressive lifetime achievements for Mike MacDonald center on the impact he has made on his players, assistant coaches, and all he has encountered throughout his incredible basketball coaching journey. Reading a line directly from Mike's bio that appeared on the Damien University website, it read, "MacDonald's personable nature and willingness to give back to the local community have made him one of the most highly thought of people in the Western New York sports community." That's what Mike MacDonald brings to St. Bonaventure. He is one of us, a true Bonnie, someone who fits seamlessly into the fabric of this St. Bonaventure community, someone ready to build on the tremendous legacy of Bonnie's basketball. Mac, welcome to you and Maura, Matt, Patrick, and Nick, and Mark. Welcome back to the Bonner family. We are so excited to have you return to these enchanted mountains. So it's with great pleasure that I introduce the 20th head coach in the history of the St. Bonaventure men's basketball program, Mike MacDonald.
We'd like to invite Maura up as well to give her her jersey. I think she's going to be a point guard for us.
It's a bigger notebook than you had in college, I know that. Whoa. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for coming, and thank you, and Dr. G and Bob. I mean, it's like all these pictures. It's like our wedding, Maura, and then it's almost like my eulogy at the funeral. You guys were too nice. It's a little bit all wrapped into one. Thank you, everybody, for coming. It is truly an honor to be named the head men's basketball coach at St. Bonaventure University, to follow legends like Bob mentioned, Eddie Donovan, Larry Weese, Jim Satlin, Jim O'Brien, Jimmy Barron, right, is very humbling. And to succeed the greatest coach in St. Bonaventure history, Mark Schmidt, can be a daunting task. One I know I will have to work hard every day to live up to. I understand what I'm getting into. You know, about 12 years ago, when I was introduced as a head coach at Damon University, I joked that I'd like to thank everybody for joining me on my tour of Western New York colleges and universities. I guess that joke still holds up about 12 years later, so it's pretty good. I definitely would like to start by thanking a few people. First, the administration at Damon University, led by Dr. Gary Olson, and the players and coaches I worked with over those dozen seasons. I am here today because of them. I am very aware of that. I understand that. I also know I had the privilege to work with some outstanding athletic directors, most recently Tracy Murphy at Damon, Bridget Nyland also at Damon, Bana alum Pete Lonergan at Medaille University, and the late great Dan Starr. All people who let you coach your team, run your program, and gave you the support necessary to be successful. Many thanks to Bob Beretta, Jeff Gingrich, who were so very professional during this whole search process. They gave me space and allowed me to coach the Damon team during our run in the NCAA tournament. That was very important to me, and they respected that, and I am very appreciative of that. Thank you. Also, the athletic staff here at St. Bonaventure has been incredibly supportive in this transition. Special shout out to women's basketball coach Jim Crowley, hiding up there in the corner, who has found time for all of my idiotic questions and trying to figure things out. He's been a lifesaver, so thank you, Coach Crowley. Included in that staff is Adrian Wojnarowski. Woj, right? Yes, it has been reported. I've known Woj for about 30 years. There is a lot of misinformation out there. Woj was never my roommate. I did not room with him. He was not there. In fact, some of my college roommates are actually here today. Brian Strauss, Mike Wangler, Steve Hayes. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for coming. A couple other roommates, Mark Caduzzi and Walter Stubbs, I know are watching the live stream. So I think that's really cool that these guys would take time out of their day and come from all over the country to watch this and be here. I think it's really special, very special. Most importantly, I'd like to thank my family. My mother is back in Connecticut. I won't tell you how old she is. She'd kill me. Trying to watch this on her iPad. I'd say it's about 50-50. She figures it out. There's a technology joke with old people, but I'll leave that one alone too. I have 4 brothers who are very excited. They have not been back here since I graduated a long, long time ago. And this time, 3 of them will be able to get in the Burton legally when they do come back, which will be good. On a serious note, my wife Maura, who was just up here, and Jeff jokingly said she's the point guard, and there's no doubt she is the point guard. She takes care of everything so that I'm allowed to coach, and she runs the family. You know, there's one college coach who famously, or maybe infamously, stated during this coaching cycle when he had his press conference that he introduced his wife and talked about it was proof that he could recruit. I'm not going to do that today. I will say this, though. After 33 years of marriage, I think we have proof that I'm pretty good at retention right there. For years, Maura's been asking me when we could go south for the winter, when we could move south. A lot of our friends were moving south. So I'm happy to announce that next month we are moving to the southern tier. That's what you want, right? Is that what you meant? Okay, I just thought. And we will be moving into the southern tier permanently. My sons, Matt, Patrick, Nick, and Mark are here. Matt's here. He's a graduate of the University of Pennsylvania. Patrick is a graduate of SUNY Maritime. Nick is a graduate of Damon, and Mark is a student at Fredonia State. Patrick couldn't be here today. Pat's a lieutenant in the Navy. He is a nuclear surface warfare officer. I draw out of balance plays and worry about zone defenses, so you can see who has got a more important job, right? Mark couldn't be here today either. He has school. It's also his birthday today, and he's at Fredonia State. And think about it. Come to a press conference, hang out with your parents, or stay on college and celebrate your birthday. I think he made the right choice. I think he knew what he was doing. I also, as I get going, want to make sure I mention my time coaching the Olean Huskies and being here for a couple of years coaching. I worked with the late, great Bob Sassone and Jeff Anastasia, the retired coach at Olean. Last week, Jeff and I went to Angie's with Joe Gunther and Jeff Sherman, the first backcourt in Jeff's coaching career. Of course, I had to make sure I had the sausage Sassone in honor of Coach Sass. I thought that was very fitting. So I think, last night we went out to eat. We went to the Beef and Barrel, some of my friends, and Mike Wengler, one of my roommates, said, why would you take this job now? And my simple response was, because it's Bonaventure. Simple, right? Because it's Bonaventure. Look, this is a different time in college athletics. NIL, agents, right? Transfer portal. It's different. It's a whole new frontier. We have to understand that. I remember taking a course from Coach Fred Handler back in the day here. And Coach Handler used to always say, once every class, he'd always say, it's all dollars and cents. All dollars and cents. I don't think Coach Handler could ever guess how right he would be right now in this era of college sports. I mean, we have schools in the Atlantic 10 who are paying close to $10 million in their payroll for men's basketball. It's crazy, right? And it would be easy to throw up your hands and just give up. But we won't, because it's Bonaventure. We have to be creative. We will need a collaborative effort from the alumni, the fans, the students, everybody, for us to be successful. We need to look for recruits in every corner of the globe, and we have to spot potential young players who will grow and become great, like Coach Schmidt did when he found an underdeveloped big man in Canada who turned into a first-round draft pick. Andrew Nicholson, thank you for coming today. I have had many people reach out asking how they can help. Right? I understand maybe everyone can't write $1 million check for the NIL. I understand that, right? But we can all help in different ways. We can all we have to focus that we have to understand that we have to focus that we have something special here. We have a university that cherishes college basketball, right? One of the greatest home court advantages in the country is this very building. We need the students, we need the townspeople, we need the alumni to pack this place so it can continue to be the most difficult place for road teams to play. We need to find student athletes who want to be here because it's Bonaventure, not just so they can get a paycheck. Right? I think there are those guys that are out there. We need to have a basketball team who values the things that St. Bonaventure can do for them while they are here and many, many years after they graduate. We will build a roster that our fans can be proud of, right? And we'll work on trying to retain that roster. It can be challenging, but with a team effort, we can definitely be successful. I'll tell you a quick story. I was a coach at Canisius back in the early 2000s. And we had just won 20 games, finished the season. We had gone to the MAC championship, and we had lost the MAC finals. And there was an opening down here at St. Bonaventure. And the coaching rumors was that I was going to be one of the ones considered. I ended up re-upping my contract with Canisius and staying there. A couple months later, Phil Martelli was the coach at St. Joe's. He called me, we were talking about scheduling, and he joked, he goes, hey, maybe I thought I'd see you at the coaches meetings for the Atlantic 10. And I said, well, I ended up staying. He goes, I think St. Bonaventure is the best job in our conference. I go, really? He goes, yes, I think it's the best job in the Atlantic 10. I go, why do you say that, Phil? And he said, because they care. It made me think a little bit, right? And then let me fast forward to about 10 days ago when Bob asked me to come down and meet with him and Dr. G. I got here at 8 a.m. on a Saturday morning, came in the back door of the RC, snuck down inside, went to the locker room. We didn't see anybody, right? Met for a few hours. Eventually, I got back in my car, and about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I called my wife, and Maura said to me right away, "You're all over Twitter. They all know you're on campus." I mean, Bonnet Nation has nothing on TMZ. It's incredible, right? And I will tell you, I hung up the phone, and I'm like, really? Do I want to get involved in that? But then as I started to think, Phil Martelli's words rang out in my head, because they care. And that's why this place is special, because people care. It doesn't matter if it's a non-conference game in December on the road or at home, people care. If it's a coaching search, people care. And that's what makes this place special. There are a lot of people who care about St. Bonaventure, who want to see St. Bonaventure succeed. I understand that. And we will work very hard, my staff and I, to make this place successful. You know why? Because it's Bonaventure and because we care. Thank you all for coming today. I've talked way too long. Now I get to answer questions, which I guess is fun too. But I'll end with, let's go Bonas.
Thanks, Coach. We're now going to open it up to questions from the media. Ben and Seth, I think, are back there with microphones. They'll run and find you. First question is going to be from a student media member. What I would ask the media members to do is identify yourself by name and your media organization, and then to whom you want your question directed.
Ryan Lombardi, TAP Integrator Alien. Coach, congratulations and welcome back to St. Bonaventure.
Thank you.
Can you describe your first initial reaction and when and where you first heard the news about the opening at your old school?
When and where I heard the opening, it was, I guess that weekend when Bonaventure played at home, and I had kind of heard through the grapevine that it was there. Actually, I'll tell you a quick story. Joe Palumbo, one of my former players at Medaille, a great point guard, Olean Husky too, who's here today, he texted me about 10 o'clock that morning and said, "You're all over the internet." And my response was, "I hope I have my clothes on." Then I had no idea what he was talking about. We had a game that afternoon, and then he told me what was going on. So that was kind of my first reaction. My reaction was total shock, because I consider Mark Schmidt a friend. I've known him for a long time, and it just, shock, and you hope everything works out.
Jonah Bronstein, WIBB News 4. How have you noticed the Division I basketball changing over the past 20 years, and maybe more specifically the last 3, 4, 5 years? And how do you think the winning program you developed at Division II can translate to this new landscape?
It's changed a lot, Jonah, I'll tell you that. I had somebody ask me that yesterday when I was driving down in the morning, and I said, yeah, we're going to go on Zooms with agents from all over the country. We're going to meet, we have Zooms with families because the transfer portal was open. I wish I'd paid a lot more attention in math class nowadays, now that I know this whole NIL thing. But it has changed a lot. I mean, it is different. But our goal is to try and recreate what we did at Damon, right? To find a group of young men who can be selfless and unselfish and want to play for the greater good, and to be able to play for each other and play for the university. And I think there are those guys out there. I think a lot is made of the NIL, transfer portal, how much money are people making. I think in the end, it comes down to it's a game, and it's kids playing a kid's game, and our job is to have fun.
Spencer Bates, Olean Star. First off, congrats, Coach. One of the things that yourself, Bob, and President Gingrich talked about in your statements was your ability to retain players. what have you found to be the key to retaining players in this era of NIL and the transfer portal?
Besides my bubbly personality?
Yes.
Okay, all right. I'm just making sure. I think the key is if you create an environment where people want to be there, right? They want to be a part of. They enjoy being a part of. The grass is not always greener. And I think you have to have a spot where people enjoy playing with each other, playing for your coaching staff. They feel like they're getting better, and they can realize that they can achieve what they want to achieve by being in your situation. And that's what we're going to have to do.
Marquel Slaughter, Buffalo News. Coach Mike, congrats. I wanted to ask, was this a job you could not refuse? Was it easy or hard to leave Damon for this job?
Extremely difficult. Extremely difficult to leave. We have, we've had it rolling, and we had a really good group of people and a great supportive administration. So yes, it was very difficult, but you know what? Because it's Bonaventure, we have a chance to be back here and try and recreate what we did at Damon. It's a challenge, and I think if you can get a challenge, at my age, I'm always up for a good challenge.
Coach, Carson Egg with Go Bonnies. First of all, congratulations.
Thanks, Carson.
And secondly, when other coaches or Bonnie fans are watching this team, what do you want this team's identity to be?
We want to be very unselfish, both offensively and defensively, Carson. We want to play together. We want to be very tough and very connected at both ends of the floor, offensive and defensive. I mean, I'd like to give you the stat. Everybody always says at press conference, we're going to run up and down, we're going to play real fast and all that. In the end, we have to play to the talent we have and to give them the best chance to be successful. I think that's what a coach's job is.
Congrats, Coach. Henry Buchan, Olean Times-Herald.
Thanks, Henry.
I talked to Jeff Anastasia a little bit this week about the year you spent together at Olean High School. You talked about how you wanted to get a bunch of threes up, the press that you were running when you were a college student. Can you talk to me about that and maybe how your philosophy has changed over time?
Yeah, it's definitely changed over time. I was young and stupid back then, But Jeff was great to work with. Jeff was very good to, great for me. And it was his first year, and now he's the all-time leading wins coach in Western New York. I mean, it was a lot of fun. And we did shoot a lot of threes. He thought I was a little crazy, but we did do that, and I've changed a little bit, and we don't like giving up easy baskets in the press anymore, so we try and stay away from that, but we still do shoot a lot of threes.
Will Nunn with the BV. Coach,
Hi, Will.
congratulations, first of all.
Thank you.
But a number of your players from Damon last season have jumped in the transfer portal. Is there a push from you to bring them here to Bonaventure, or are you going to let them do their own thing?
That's to be determined. I think everybody has to look at their thing. I think a good number of them are going to go back. I think they wanted to see what was happening first, but I think a lot will be going back, which will be good. I was very sad that they went in the transfer portal because you want them to continue what we had. But I think it was just in an era of uncertainty, it's kind of what people do, right? It's an easy way to kind of get out there and see what's out there.
Coach Frank DeBari, mid-major basketball. I know you've
Hi, Frank.
probably heard this a million times, but once again, congratulations.
Million and one doesn't hurt, Frank. Don't worry.
Obviously being a Bonaventure alumni, can you expand a little more on how it feels personally to return home?
Yeah, very humbling. Very humbling. Something I never thought would happen in all my life. It just didn't work that way. But it's, the grace of God, things kind of work out, and this has been a whirlwind of the last 10 days. But it's a whirlwind that's I'm very appreciative and very lucky and very thankful for.
Mr. Beretta, you said you made a list and kind of listed out the criteria that you were looking for in a coach. And Coach MacDonald, you said, hit all those boxes. What were some of those boxes?
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. Thanks for the question. Well, first of all, the most important thing is we wanted to find someone that could continue the incredible legacy of success that Mark has most recently built, and the history of our program goes back in the 50s, 60s, and where we fit in that great pantheon. So that was really important. We wanted to find someone and also someone who has experienced a great deal of success in this era, in this new era of college basketball, since the transfer portal became so proficient, you know. So that was really important to us. Someone who has accomplished so much in the recent history. And Coach Mack is 61-3 the past 2 years at Damon. Took his team to the Elite Eight this past year. So we knew that he had a tremendous track record.
Let me interrupt you for a second. Can I interrupt you?
Of course.
We were 25-9 3 years ago. Everybody forgets that. They talk about the last 2 years. 25-9 is pretty good. Went to the second round of the NCAAs. Everybody forgets that year.
You set
What
the bar
heck?
too high the last
Yeah.
2 years. That's the problem. But you know, again, someone that really would create that environment, Ryan, where our kids would want, our young men would want to come to the gym and get better every day and just eat, live, and drink basketball around their academics. Someone who understood what it meant to be a Bonnie. And I think it's really important. We talk about how important it is for people that want to be at St. Bonaventure, whether it's a student, whether it's a student athlete, a staff member, a member of the faculty, a member of our administration. Those that want to be here flourish here and shine here. And we knew that Coach Mack had a tough decision because he was leaving an incredible situation at Damon, but we also knew that he would embrace this opportunity. So those were some of the things. Obviously, from a strategic standpoint, really important that we had someone with that strategic expertise. And just a short note, this was a very diverse and thorough search. We interviewed over 20 candidates from California to New York, down south into deep southeast, in the Midwest. We talked to head coaches, assistant coaches. We talked to a large, diverse breadth of highly, highly, highly talented candidates. And we referenced a lot of those people, as you can imagine. And in many cases, when I called someone in my world to check on a reference, I can tell you on more than one occasion, that person said, hey, that candidate would be awesome, but you got a guy right up the road that you really need to consider. And it was Mike MacDonald.
Andrew Nicholson, class of 2012. Question for you, Mike.
The year of eligibility, I'm all
That
for
would
it.
be amazing.
All right, I'm all for it. We can get 44 out of the rafters and you're ready to go.
Again, congratulations for being a part of the program.
Thank you.
My question to you is, how would you like to see alumni such as myself be more involved in the program to help you through in this transition? Like, what can we do on our end to help support the program?
That's a great question, Andrew. I think what we need to do, especially from the former players, we need to get you back on campus. We need to see, because I think there is a close knit. I got a text from Tom Boney at about midnight last night. We were going back and forth, and I think if we can get you guys back on campus, they can see how much Bonaventure has meant to you. I think that goes a long way. With one of the guys had a question about trying to retain people, right? And that's something I think really helps because they see how valuable Bonaventure was to you. You played in an era where you might have had, I don't know what you averaged as a freshman. What'd you average as a freshman?
Freshman year, 3 blocks, maybe I want to say.
He goes
13,
right to
14
defense
points.
first. You hear that? All right. How many points?
Maybe 13 to 14
Okay,
points.
yeah. Now a lot of people would be like, oh, I'm out of there, right? And we're in an era where if you average like 4 or 5 points, you're out of here because I didn't average enough. And if you average 15 to 20 points, I'm out because I averaged too much. And it's a little bit weird, right? But I think it's going to change. I think it will come back, and people will realize I have a good situation. I'm in a special place, and that's what we want to show them. And so that to me, I think that's the biggest thing that we can do is get our former players back here on campus, let them see the successes you've become, right? And let them see I can be like Andrew Nicholson if I stay here for 4 years.
Well, you have my full support, and I'll do my best to do that. So I appreciate it. Thank you for being a part of this program. I'm looking forward to see where this is going to go.
Thank you for being here.
Coach, Pete Thamel had a report that you're starting to assemble your assistant coaching staff. What were you looking for from those guys, and can you just touch on those guys a little bit?
Sure. I can't really talk yet because the personnel stuff isn't done. I've gotten in trouble already for that once, and I can't do that again. But I think we have started to put together. We wanted people with connections in the high school ranks, connections within the transfer portal. Specific areas of the country have been very important to St. Bonaventure's history of when they've been good. And I think we need to hit those areas and try and be good. We need somebody with connections in Canada, right? We need the Northeast. We also have to hit the Midwest a little bit. There are prep schools out there that I think that sometimes get overlooked right now. So I think all that is important as we assemble our staff.
Coach,
We also need, let me interrupt one second. We also need guys who love to teach, who will teach basketball, right, and love the game, and are great connectors. I've been very fortunate to have that at Damon. I've had a long run of guys who are really good at connecting with the student athletes, and I think that goes a long way with making sure their environment is good so that they want to stay around.
Coach, you're the only coach in the nation to have 100 wins at the Division I, II, and III level. What has that experience at all three levels, how has that helped you in your development as a coach, and what is something you're taking from those days at, Medaille or, the early days at Damon that you're going to be bringing to St. Bonaventure?
That's a great question. The excuse me. I've kind of coached backwards in some way. I was a Division I head coach at 30. Right? And then I was let go when I was 40. And now all of a sudden I went down to Division III. And people would say it was going down. I thought it was great for me because I could work on coaching and I could do things. And I think you become a better coach by coaching. And so I learned a lot about, you have to, at Division III and Division II, you don't have all the bells and whistles. I walked in, I saw the locker room here, I almost fell over. Like, that's bigger than all the locker rooms I've been in combined in the last 15, 20 years. But it's, you have to take what you have and you have to work with it. And you can't worry about what you don't have, what's missing. And I think that's what we've been good at, focusing on what you have. And that's what we're going to try and do here. We have a lot of good things here at St. Bonaventure, a lot of positives. It's easy to focus on the negatives. We're going to focus on the positives.
Mark Slaughter, Buffalo News. This is for Bob. Bob, Mark Schmidt's retirement seemed very sudden. Were there any talks before the last home game of why did it seem so sudden, and how fast did that all really unfold?
Marquel, I'd be happy to talk to you about that on another day. I think today I'd really like to focus on the future with Mike MacDonald's leadership of this program, but I'm happy to talk to you any other time on that matter.
Jonah Bronstein, WIVB. How much do you feel like you can, or how much of a lead role do you feel like you're going to take with the recruiting and recruit in the way that you did at Damon, as opposed to this NBA-style model that's gained more popularity in college basketball with the general manager and that type of roster building?
I think that's good. Jonah, I should talk about that. Woj is definitely part of the men's basketball staff. He's our general manager, but it's different in ways that he reports to me. That was one of the first questions I had for Bob when I get there. What is the chain of command? And Woj reports to me. He is part of it, but he's a very valuable tool for us to use. Right? I mean that in a great way. That he has connections with agents that I don't have, and like it or not, that's the new world. Like, kids have agents. 10th graders have agents. 11th graders have agents. College kids have agents. And so his connection with agents can help us get in the door and get in front of somebody. It's not much different than when you hired an assistant coach and they had connections with an AAU program, right? Or a certain high school program. He has connections with people, so we have to use that. I think Adrian's also very valuable as a fundraiser for us, and being able to locate funds, realize where some money is that can help us so that we can compete in the Atlantic 10. I still think we have to recruit the way we recruit. It's got to be relationship driven. It has to be. We have to be able to make a connection. Right now, honestly, it's speed dating. We are going in, we do a Zoom, we meet somebody, now we're hoping they're going to come to campus. We want to be able to get them on campus, use whatever connections we have, and then get a chance to really know them. And we have to, myself and my staff really has to dig deep and search and research on these guys' backgrounds before we bring them here.
Folks, thank you so much. Just so we can stay on schedule, really appreciate all the questions. The TV media, we're going to do some individuals, and I think Ben will help coordinate that. Whether we have time for individuals or a gang shot, I'm not really sure, just so we can stay on schedule. But if you want to migrate over there. And for everybody here, there's a reception immediately following that everybody is welcome to attend. And at some point when Mike is yeah, good, yep.
Yeah, I'm making Matt work over there, but there is a baseball game at 3:30 today, and everybody should stick around. It's a beautiful day, and I think it's guaranteed win day, right? Guaranteed win day. Okay, guaranteed win day. We'll go with that. I like putting pressure on other coaches too.
You're all welcome to attend the reception right after, and as soon as Mike is done with his interviews over here, he'll stop over and press a little flesh and get to know some folks. Thank you everyone for coming, and one more time, a round of applause for our new coach, Mike MacDonald.